Hello, welcome back. It is Midweek Magic. It is here on That Park Place. It is Marvin Movie Monster Montanaro. It is Vash Sky from the Vash Sky Parkcast, and we are bringing you guys the latest theme park news. Vash, what is up with you this week, my friend?
Man, so much going on, Marvin, in all the theme park world. I'm just, going along trying to keep up with it myself. Actually, Vash Guy Parkcast, we have our first official video, about Comcast. It's a spinoff of, obviously, their NBC Universal division right there. And I got Jonas J. Campbell on to talk about that. So, great new video, but that's honestly what I've been up to, is just trying to research all I possibly can on everything going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much going on. There's so much going on that we can't even dedicate an entire segment to like all the things I wanted to. Like, I would love to talk about the fact that Halloween Horror Nights is gearing up over at Universal Orlando. They just announced the Hellraiser trilogy house coming this year, which should be a lot of fun. All of the original houses have been announced, all the original IP houses. So now we're just waiting on the rest of the IP houses. I have heard rumor that the gag house this year might be Simpsons Treehouse of Horror.
Oh,
I'd be
that's interesting.
Really curious to see how they do that, but we'll see if it's the thing they actually end up doing. But the Hellraiser house, they said there's brand new technology never before used at HHN before, so I'm hoping a little bit more of the quality that we saw in like the Five Nights at Freddy's house, and a little bit less of the poop smell from the Terrifier house.
Oh,
I tell you, man, I really hope they do away with the smells this year.
Yeah. I don't know. Some of those smells. If it's like I think they had like a holiday house, and you walk in, and the Thanksgiving scene, it smells like cinnamon or whatever. That's okay, that's fine. But some of the other stuff.
When you walk in the WWE house last year, you walked into the Huskus pig room, and it smelled like a slaughterhouse. It smelled like rotting meat essentially. And then in the Terrifier house, you go through a bathroom, and it smelled like a bathroom. Like, I did not like that at all. No more of that, like it. Please. Don't like it. No, sir. I don't like it. But some of the sets have started to go up in Universal Orlando, so I'm going to be there at some point next week, and I'm going to be taking a bunch of pictures of everything that they're starting to set up. So check out thatparkplace.com for that, guys. But unfortunately, that's all the Universal stuff we're talking about this week, because as well, I would love to sit here and talk about how much I love Universal, Disney just keeps doing things that just make me shake my head. So we've got to talk about that. But before that, Vash, we've got a couple of super chats to get to. Juliet, our wonderful mod out there for £2 sterling, says, afternoon, that Park Place in chat. Good afternoon, Juliet. Archer Merchant for a 5 says, there's been no news on events from what I saw for the 72nd Disneyland birthday in 2 weeks, other than the $59 evening one park tickets for low attendance in California, which we will be talking about later. But Vash, is the 72nd birthday really a thing that needs to be celebrated?
Well, yeah, these kind of off anniversaries right there, you don't get much in the way of celebration from Disney on that end right there. Usually they're looking at 75th or 80, those are kind of the big anniversary years for them, and now they're just going towards the zeros, right? I think we have seen that from the past 70th anniversary right there. And at least on the day, there will be like a small cavalcade, usually, and is accompanied by Walt's speech, which, by the way, a couple years ago, Marvin, they didn't actually play. And, maybe in my previous employ, we changed that just a little bit.
Yeah, okay, very cool. Very cool. One Magical Girl Pro for $1.99 says, have a magical day, everyone. And then One Magical Girl Pro for $1.99 also says, Marv, those are some magical keys on your wall. Yeah, well, they are magical keys. They are keyblades. But we do love the Magical Girl group that's been sprouting up. First, of course, led by the one and only Magical Girl Jonas. There you go.
It's kind of anime-ish. I love that. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, Carol made it. Carol made it while we were on the air last week.
Perfect, magical girl.
Yeah.
What is a connection right there? That's awesome.
Yep. Jim Butler for 5 says Holiday World has announced their new water roller coaster ride called Cannonball. Well, that's pretty cool. I do like the idea of Holiday World.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. Vash, have you seen Dollywood is actually doing a direct flight from Orlando to Tennessee?
I did see that right there. That's super. Very, very interesting indeed.
So I was actually talking to some of the PR people at Dollywood about it, and you know what the flight number is?
What's that?
925.
925.
Working 9 to 5.
Oh,
Flight. So it's flight 925.
that is absolutely fantastic. I
think that's so fun. I think that's so fun. Wolfle McGruffle says it's the song, and Caro is too talented. She really is. It is a whole song, guys.
He will never sacrifice the truth for trends. Always brings the facts before he bends. Every hot take meets a thoughtful end. He is the one. Magical girl, comic cinema, books, history, gaming, mythology, philosophy, with references nobody expected to see. He is the one. Magical girl, Jonas.
I love it. It's so good.
That's good stuff right there.
My goodness. All right. Oh, Cheesebat saying Dollywood has built advertising billboards all over Orlando. I have not actually seen that. I would love to see that. Huh. I wonder what highways they're on. Not that I'm going to go specifically drive down a highway to see, a billboard, but anyway, Vash, we have got stories upon stories upon stories to get to today, and we got to get to one first because it seems like the crowd shortage at Walt Disney World is actually starting to catch up with them, because a Disney World staple has actually announced that it's going seasonal, and we're going to talk about whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing. So let's get into our launch story right now. Crowds have been low in Walt Disney World for quite some time, and now it feels like certain eateries are starting to feel a pinch of that. Disney World announcing that the Coral Reef restaurant, where you get to dine next to the very fish you're about to eat, will start a seasonal closure in summer of 2026. Let's talk about it today on That Park Place. Vash, have you ever had the pleasure of eating at Coral Reef?
I have not, but I always wanted to, right? Because it's such a famous, infamous restaurant. You see it all the time, and
famous mostly for that episode of Full House where they eat there, and then Jesse and Joey are like in the in the living seas. It's not good.
Ooh.
They have a very experienced kitchen staff.
Do you have a bit of experience in that arena?
If you consider failure experience.
Pro and I were talking about it recently. It has improved in recent years. About 5 years ago, they did a menu change. Things got better, but before that, man, it was like if you were eating there, you were like, okay, I gotta clear out my night because I'm gonna get sick.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that. It's really, it's quite tough to see such a notable restaurant, at least from sitcoms past, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of go down in quality like this. Not good.
Yeah, definitely not good at all. But okay, let's go into what this says here. Walt Disney World has quietly added an alert for Coral Reef Restaurant at Epcot, indicating it will temporarily close soon. Here are dates and details. This is, by the way, from Tom Bricker over at Disney Tourist Blog. Go check them out. Here are dates and details, along with our thoughts about whether this is a refurbishment, cost-cutting measure, or both. Start with the basic background, which is what establishes why this is temporary closure is unsurprising in the first place. Last November, Walt Disney World revealed that Coral Reef Restaurant will be reducing its hours and eliminating lunch service starting in January. Prior to that, Coral Reef served lunch from 11:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and dinner from 3:45 to 8:30 p.m. It was an all-day menu, and the restaurant didn't close for the 15 minutes in between. The restaurant now operates only for dinner from 4 to 9. So they changed that. Even with the reduced hours, advanced dining reservations are incredibly easy for Coral Reef. You could get a table today, tomorrow, and every day thereafter for pretty much every single seating. It appears there's no availability for parties of 1 to 2, but that's a common trick of Disney. I'm confident that those tables are available either via walk-up, waitlist, or actually walking up to the podium. Coral Reef Restaurant just isn't that busy, even with the ongoing 40% off discount during annual pass holder appreciation days, running until July 31st, 2026. Immediately after VI pass holder summer days, Coral Reef will participate in DVC Welcome Home Weeks with another 40% off discount through August the 26th, and it'll still be easy to book even then. He's right. Accordingly, the new warning bulletin posted on Coral Reef Restaurant's website is unsurprising. It says Coral Reef Restaurant will temporarily be closed beginning September 8th, 2026, and is expected to reopen later in 2026. A few things worth noting. First, there is no mention of a refurbishment. That is not necessarily conclusive of a cost-cutting seasonal closure, but it is worth noting that other projects of this nature usually include the words refurbishment or refresh. That's true because you want to make people excited for it and not make it seem like it's a bad thing. Turf Club, Yachtsman Steakhouse, Grand Floridian Cafe are the three main restaurant refurbishments at Walt Disney World right now, and all three use the word refurbishment in their official bulletin. Second, there's no end date. There are typically time frames estimated for routine refurbishments, even if they are somewhat vague or simply season. Therefore, the aforementioned trio all have end months. In many cases, those windows are narrowed further with early, mid, or late in the month. By contrast, Walt Disney World simply says sometime in 2026 for Coral Reef. Not only that, but it then adds the expected to wiggle words referring to the reopening, meaning there's not even a guarantee the restaurant will reopen later in 2026. So Bricker says, when you step back and take a look at the totality of the circumstances, it's pretty easy to conclude that this is a seasonal closure for Coral Reef Restaurant as opposed to a routine refurbishment. At least this is the easy conclusion if you're a longtime fan and have experience at Walt Disney World. Yep, absolutely. Historically, Disney has utilized seasonal closures when demand has dropped. We've seen it in places like the Diamond Horseshoe. They were utilized post 9/11 and again during the Great Recession, not to scare newer fans, but some beloved rides and restaurants that are now extinct saw their fates sealed by the seasonal status. It has been the kiss of death for several offerings, including ones at Epcot. But yeah, Vash, what do you think? To me, this seems like Coral Reef might be getting the seasonal closure, the seasonal closure treatment here.
I think so. I think that's exactly what this is. There have been other outlets out there actually who have said just as much, right? It looks like this is moving towards seasonal operation, which is no good. Obviously, this restaurant here opens 1986. Like you said, 1990s. Mm-hmm. You have it proliferated in travel guides and obviously on TV and so forth. And it's really, really cool to see. And that's why I always kind of, wanted to actually see this for myself. But dining there, might not be the best venture for sure. Now, I think there's a refurbishment back in, 2017, thereabouts right there. I don't know if they modified the menu in that specific refurbishment. Only done about 3 days. But I believe it was last year sometime they were saying that they were going to remove lunch operation effective January 2026 and then move to a dinner-only experience.
Yep.
I think from 4 to 9 or something like that. So
yep.
This kind of like whittling down constantly of this restaurant in that way, I think it points to they're just not getting the business to pay for necessarily the amount of customers that they have there that have to facilitate its operation and so forth. That might just be something where, like, I don't know, the Odyssey, it just becomes seasonal, right?
So this is a thing where it's like, remember, they still have to have the full kitchen staff, the full wait staff, all the full cleaning staff, everything, and no one's booking this restaurant, especially during slower times. This is like, and I think, Vash, a lot of that has to do with because this was once upon a time like one of the classic places to go eat,
right?
Especially after that Full House episode came out, but. I remember as a kid watching the Full House episode and being like, I want to eat there. And then I went and ate there in 2009 for the first time. And I was just like, wow, this wasn't good. It made me feel sick to my stomach. The thing, I also feel that it's only really worth it if you're sitting right up against the glass so you can like watch the fish.
Right.
I like to show them my plate and be like, look what I'm eating. And the fish is like, why?
That's terrible, Marvin. Come on now. Yeah,
They eat fish too. Fish eat fish.
I
Not
guess
judging me.
That's a fair point right there, but you're totally right about having to sit against the glass, right? I will say, when going over the history of Blue Bayou recently, it's very interesting what they did with like Disneyland Paris's version of that same attraction, right? In which they had like tiered seating so that more people could benefit from the views into the attraction, that being Pirates of the Caribbean over there, Disneyland Paris. Formerly at Disneyland, where the inspiration came from. You would have liked to have seen more dining up against the glass right there. But Marvin, to your point, if you don't actually get up against that glass, it's kind of like any other restaurant experience that serves seafood primarily, right?
Right. And I mean, one of the things that I love the most when you're at Coral Reef is a lot of times the sea turtle likes to come hang out around there. So, like, that's a pretty cool thing to see, like, while you're eating,
cool.
is the sea turtle. A lot of times the sea turtle will come and he'll hang out, like, right by this, like, window over here, and he'll just, like, take a nap.
That's cool.
Like, that's
fun.
kind of like where he goes to sleep, which I thought was really funny. But, yeah, I honestly think that they changed the menu 5 years ago. I don't think the word is out on that. I think that this restaurant got a really bad... Got a really bad reputation for a long period of time, and now they're kind of reaping that bad reputation. And no matter what they do, people are still going to hear Coral Reef, and it's going to turn their stomach a little bit.
Yeah, I look. You're only as good as your last dish, right? And if you keep serving, mediocre food, well, like you said, Marvin, word gets around right there. They used to have like special stuff, like Mickey Mouse. He was in that. In that tank as well, right there, saying hi to diners. At least back in the old footage, right there. Might have to be black and white in some cases because it was so long ago. No, I'm joking.
Back when they used to do things to go the extra mile to like make people happy and enjoy their trips. Yeah,
right, exactly.
I really want to pull the Ron Swanson clip, where he's talking about monetizing the Pawnee parks, and he's just like, Like put it a token, go on a swing. Put it a token, look at a duck. I'm like that's 100% where we're going with Disney. But yeah, Coral Reef Restaurant. I mean, I had their new menu. There was nothing really on it that I liked, and I ended up just kind of like it was better than it was in the past. I was there like 2 years ago. It was better than it was in the past, but I still didn't really like it. But I know Pro just went recently and said it was great. So
really,
I don't know. I know some people who it's their favorite restaurant. So, but the problem is, if the food is subpar, it's not like it's priced differently than most of the Disney restaurants. It's priced pretty on par with most of like the World Showcase restaurants and things like that. So, if that's the case, I'm going to go to one of the World Showcase restaurants. Or, honestly, I'd probably have a better meal over at Sunshine Seasons in the Land Pavilion, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump away from it.
It might just be, like you so amazingly bring out here, right here, it might just be a competitive factor, right? Where you look at the competition around even Epcot itself and you go, there's just some better venues within this park itself. Why necessarily spend the same amount of money or similar on this particular place right here, which, like you said, maybe some mediocre dining, maybe some mediocre views if you don't happen to get, right up against the glass right there. I'm just going to go ahead and go somewhere else.
Well, so here's the thing. You're in Epcot, right? This is the food and beverage park. So to be a table service restaurant in Epcot, especially during a festival season, you have to offer something really, really strong to stand out among the competition because there's so much quick service you can get. There's so many. And then to be a table service restaurant in the front of Epcot, not in World Showcase, you have to really justify your existence with exceptional service and food, because otherwise people are just going to go tour, they're going to go to Italy, they're going to go to Via Napoli, they're going to go to, what's the name of the one in Japan that is like Benihana? Teppan Edo. They're gonna go to Beer Garden. They're gonna go to Le Cellier Steakhouse, which is like the best place in all of Disney property. They're gonna do one of those things because those are exceptional. So, if you really want people to take, and then during the festivals, people are filling up on festival food. So you have to give them a reason to, essentially pull themselves away from festivals. And so if it is closed, Vash, in early September, and if it's closing early September and reopening in 2026, you know what that tells me? They're closing it during Food and Wine. Because Food and Wine starts, I believe, August 27th, and it runs until mid-November. And so if that were the case, it would have it closed down for pretty much all of Food and Wine. And that makes perfect sense to me.
Right. Because there's so much excess dining capacity. It's kind of like, do we necessarily need this venue, especially if on that competition factor, which this might be competition in general, just, hey, if people are going to go ahead and take advantage of the other offerings, does it quite make sense to have this open for half, capacity or half occupancy?
The other thing I'll bring up, Ash, also is that, the crowds aren't what they used to be. Like, we still have days that are pretty crowded, especially weekends at Epcot, when you're talking about the festivals. But,
right.
Maybe this is Disney's lower crowd starting to catch up to them a little bit.
It might be. And with these diminishing crowds, it's kind of like, we don't necessarily need every single venue. Now, maybe that changes, right? When some of these bigger expansions for these adjacent parks actually come online, maybe you do have room for dining capacity for a restaurant like this year round. But until that's the case, I can definitely see going to a seasonal operation, which is sad because I think there's a lot of potential in this restaurant. Bro might be a little, I don't mean to call him out, but he might be a little biased, all right? He might be, there might be a little nostalgia talking. I don't know.
It's
just sounds
possible. Like it's very possible. But there you go, guys. Coral Reef Restaurant. It might be closing down for a seasonal closure, and that begs the question: when it comes to Epcot, is it going to be the only one? All right, back to the Super Chats, Vash. We've got One Magical Girl Pro for 199 says, Vash, I DM'd you a pic. That doesn't sound good. You're DMing with the Magical Girls?
I'm not DMing with the Magical Girls. This pic was sent to me. Marvin, you might want to take a look at it, though, because, I don't know if you're necessarily going to be happy about what you see.
What is it?
I got my screen shared right there.
I don't see anything on it. Oh, for frick's sake. Yeah, I'm not putting that on the screen.
Not putting it on the screen.
All right. Apparently, I'm one of them, too.
Sorry, Marvin. I do apologize.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's not great, but hey, you know what? Magical Girls, they're all the rage right now. So at least
you know what? Yeah, like at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I have to be a good sport about it because everybody else is. So I'll take it. The second I heard there was going to be more than Jonas, I was just like, okay, this is going to be a thing. So. It's so perfect.
Fantastic.
I can't wait for it to be better than the one Irate Specialist is making. He seemed like he got actually like mad when Caro made a song. He's like, I'm making a song in a video, and I'm like, oh, are you?
Well.
All right, so it is time to discuss Christmas, Vash, a little bit more about Christmas because Disney is it seems as though Disney is intent to ruin the holiday season this year. So let's talk a bit about that in our next scoop.
There we go. One more for the top. Triple decker, just how you like it.
Wow, thanks, Mr. Walt.
You enjoy it.
We will.
The Walt Disney World War on Christmas continues, folks, with an announcement that Our hopes have been dashed. Any hope that the Cinderella Castle Dreamlights were returning in 2026 with the castle renovations have been put to rest, as Disney has confirmed the Dreamlights are not returning. All that, plus Disney has finally given its reasoning as to why the holiday Christmas gingerbread house has been discontinued at the Grand Floridian, and it's exactly what you thought it was. Let's talk about it today on That Park Place. All right, Vash. Christmas is under attack in the Central Florida area by the House of Mouse. Mickey Mouse has turned in his black fur for green Grinch fur, apparently, as he continues to steal Christmas from us one feature at a time. Guests hoping to see the Cinderella... This is from thatparkplace.com, written by Cham Lee. Guests hoping to see the Cinderella Castle Dreamlights return in 2026 will have to hope for another year. Walt Disney World has confirmed its holiday entertainment lineup, and the longtime seasonal lighting display is not included. Disney, of course, released details about its 2026 holiday offerings during its annual Halfway to the Holidays announcement. The lineup includes returning entertainment seasonal decor, special ticketed events, and attraction overlays. However, the announcement does not include the physical Dreamlights display that last appeared on Cinderella Castle during the 2019 holiday season. Instead, Magic Kingdom will once again present Frozen Holiday Surprise. The nighttime castle show features Elsa, Anna, Olaf, Kristoff, and the Snow Geese before Cinderella Castle transforms with Christmas-themed projection effects. The presentation concludes with the castle covered in animated holiday imagery rather than the physical net of LED lights used for the former Dreamlights display. Vash, this was one of a kind, these Dreamlights.
Of course it was. Absolutely. The Dreamlights, I mean, people from all over the world came to actually see these, and they would dress them up every single year, going back, man, decades now. It was an absolutely marvelous thing to see. And, you know, the Osborne Festival of Lights, it's like, okay, well, you lost the venue. Fine, whatever. But the Castle Dreamlights, Marvin, this was... you know, they would incorporate it in shows and events and so forth. Obviously, you'd have big displays when it came to marketing material and everything else. To lose these, it's just... There's just less cheer going on at the Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World, for that matter, right now, Marvin.
Yeah, it's way less cheer. You know, these were things that were part of, like my wife, from the day that I met her up until, like, you know, maybe 2 months ago when she made it a picture of our dog instead, had the Cinderella Castle Dreamlights as the background on her phone because they were so beautiful. It made Christmas time such... The first time you see it is amazing. And so they first started doing it with the Frozen Holiday Wish, which became Frozen Holiday Surprise, where Elsa would freeze the castle and it would turn into this. Now they do this new projection kind of thing where they do make it look like there's ice on the castle, but it's not nearly as cool. My thing, Vash, is if you can do projections on the castle, why not just make it look like this? Why not just project the Dreamlights onto the castle if everyone likes that?
You would think so. I wonder if it lacks the fidelity to emulate a light-emitting diode like this, and that's why they don't necessarily opt for it. Because I'm sure that was a part of the consideration. Or maybe Marvin, they don't want to remind people of what they had before. Is that possible?
Well, yeah. The current Christmas decorations that they put up are just 100% exactly modern Disney. It is you know, soulless and familiar, but also at the same time alien. It's just nonsense. But I mean, like, again, this is a thing people really want. It's a thing that would have brought people back into the parks during a busy time, during a time where you want people in the parks. Why not just do it? Like, especially there were rumors that with the I remember reporting on this, that there were rumors that while they were repainting the castle, they were installing like hook fixtures that would make it way easier to hang the lights so that the lights could be hung like really quickly and taken down really quickly. I don't know if maybe the hook fixtures never went in. Maybe they were never real in the first place. I have no idea, Vash, but the castle refurbishment is done and we are still not getting Dreamlights. So I would say at this point, if the Dreamlights are not back this year after the castle refurbishment, don't ever expect to see them back. I think they're gone for good. They have come... hold on, I have to say it. Ken Reinhardt said people liked it, so it had to go. You know, at this point, I think that they stopped short of saying that that it would never come back. much like the way they did with the gingerbread house. But it's never coming back. What do you think?
Well, it's classic Disney, right? It's like, okay, well, we can't necessarily facilitate the castle dream lights because we're just coming out of the COVID pandemic. You'll note that 2020, 2021, not such good years for them, and there is an expense that is associated with this, right? You got to get the boom lifts out there, you got to get the crane, and even like the crane had its own like social media, which was very interesting. That's a whole other story. But you got to get that stuff out there, and I do believe there was some fireproofing that had to go into the facilitation of this every single year, which was a considerable expense, at least from what I hear. Anyway, it's kind of like, okay, well, just coming out of the pandemic, we can't necessarily do it the first year, but we'll monitor consumer feedback, and obviously we'll see if people still show up. And well, they did. And so what is necessarily the incentive for Disney to bring something like this back? Just like the gingerbread house, right? They don't do it for a year. They look at their sales and they go, hey, okay. And it now becomes one of those things where it's like, well, maybe the incentivization to actually do this wasn't there in the first place because, well, people are going to celebrate their traditions anyway. And that's really the cynical view, I think, that Disney has when it comes to the operation of these theme parks in the current era.
Right. Absolutely. But this is not the only Christmas-related news that we just got. Last week we broke it on the air because the news dropped while we were live. That Disney was discontinuing the Grand Floridian Resort gingerbread house. Came out a day later, Disney had actually confirmed to WWNT that this was a permanent closure, a permanent retirement of the gingerbread house, never coming back, which is rare for Disney to do something like that. Pro thinks somebody got fired over that because it was such a rare move for them. But they have now confirmed why. So, in an updated description for the Grand Floridian holiday offering, Disney wrote, "This holiday season at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa, guests can enjoy elegant seasonal decor and festive offerings, along with new miniature gingerbread displays featured throughout the resort. To help keep the lobby flowing smoothly for resort guests, the traditional large gingerbread house will not be offered this year." Now, that wording right there is significant. It was to help keep the lobby flowing smoothly for resort guests. And that's it. Disney explicitly just said the iconic displays have been removed in order to improve guest flow through the resort lobby. I would say if you were worried about that, why'd you put a bar in the middle of it?
Yeah, that is something that disturbs guest flow right there. And you know, they still have that big Christmas tree coming out there, and boy, at least the setup that they had last year, it got pretty close to that bar situation. So I'm shocked that they are now looking at guest flow. But please.
Look at this. Braden from Mickey Views right here. He has a couple things to say about this. He said, "I've heard it said that the gingerbread house had to go because during the 2024 holiday season, there were lines stretching from the monorail to the lobby. But I have a memory of those lines, presumably hotel guests waiting for the monorail, not the house, because it was down so much. Not a good reason."
Yeah.
He also says, to help keep the lobby flowing smoothly for resort guests, the traditional large gingerbread house will not be offered this year. Anyways, we just added a walk-up booze stand right there.
It's so crazy. I mean, it is absolutely insane when you look at perhaps the crumbling infrastructure, or maybe the lack of investment into said infrastructure causing a lot of these decisions right here. I know there have been some people speculating that, okay, with this official statement by Disney saying that, you know, they have crowd flow concerns in the Grand Floridian itself, maybe in fact they are extrapolating from that there are larger crowd flow concerns when it comes to the other resorts, and maybe that's why they just regulated Disney Springs transportation, which is an interesting idea, interesting theory. But it's kind of like, okay, well, you spent all the money on the bar that nobody wanted, and now we're taking something away. You know, if the regulation when it came to the bus transportation system was to incentivize on resort stays, then why are you getting rid of the amenities that people would otherwise like to pay for? It's absolutely bizarre. Doesn't make any sense, at least to me.
Now, Vash, I don't think we went over this last week because I think it came out after the show. but did you see now this right here, the updated verbiage that they've used to talk about the holiday decor at the resorts that hints at restrictions to resort hopping? Because they specifically said it is for guests staying at the resort or those with valid dining reservations.
Right. And that's available on the Disney Parks blog post going into the resort and park decor that they're going to be having this year, which is very, very interesting. Now, some people are saying, well, that language existed last year. It takes on a different tone now.
It takes on a different tone when we're when we're now restricting resort travel from Disney Springs. It's a completely different tone. Go ahead.
Exactly. When you're clamping down as much as they are, it's kind of like, okay, I think this is for real now. And maybe this was the end goal for a while. But it's just, to me, it's kind of sad to lose these things and to paywall the cheer, so to speak, in the way that they have. I was just watching a documentary on HGTV, this kind of special that they had going over the Walt Disney World Resort operation when it came to putting up the lights and everything like that. I was awestruck at just how the company used to run back in the day, what kind of machine it used to be, and how much they actually provided you in terms of value, in terms of holiday merriment and everything else. Now, so many of those programs have been cut back, so many of those offerings have been cut back. To lose another one like this, Arvin, it's worst way to save a buck.
You know what? You're absolutely right. We got to get that one there.
You didn't. Well, of all the cheap, lousy ways to save a buck.
There you go. I'm seeing people in the chat wondering about what the shape language of the gingerbread house was.
And so what we've tried to do is really bring that shape language from the architecture. But like what we love to talk about at WDI is shape language. And we often refer to shape language.
There's such iconic shape language in Spaceship Reverie attraction. We really wanted to make sure that we fused to that throughout the space.
I believe it looks like a shingle.
It does look like a shingle, yes. Yeah, those shingles were gross, though. I didn't like them. I would always get like cake pops and stuff like that from that little thing, but I wouldn't actually get the shingles. I wasn't a huge fan of the shingles. But Vash, now what's your take? Do you think they're actually going to start imposing restrictions on things like the monorail or the boat from Magic Kingdom to go to the resorts? Because a lot of people are saying that. I don't know if I buy it.
Yeah, obviously there have been capacity issues related to the bus transportation system as it relates to Disney Springs. And so in Disney's response to that, they took the path of least resistance, right? They could have added drivers, they could have added bus service, or they could just restrict it for everybody else. And well, that's the cadence that they took right there. So when we look at the resort needs and the resort infrastructural needs, especially as it relates to maybe the upcoming attendance boom that maybe Disney expects will happen with Villains Land, Cars Land, everything else, it's kind of like, okay, well, we need a new monorail fleet. And I was talking to Capture the Magic about this, and from his perspective, it's like, how in fact are you going to necessarily budget out a new monorail fleet without that ROI? Maybe you put it behind a paywall. I suppose it's possible. I have heard per tell of rumors of maybe a daily bus pass, which would be very, very interesting. And beyond that, it's kind of like, okay, well, maybe we restrict access to the resorts entirely instead of except for people actually staying on property and the like. So I think we're about to see a lot of moves here, Marvin, because quite frankly, Walt Disney World Resort hasn't been meaningfully invested in terms of transportation infrastructure, and since the Skyliner, and even before then, we didn't get much meaningful change.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. I think that I think it's all a Disney Springs issue. I think the issue is not that they don't want you in the resorts. I think it's they don't want you in the resorts without having to pay for something. So, and I think parking at the Magic Kingdom is enough for them. I think if you spend the $25 to park at the TTC, that's enough for them. They'll be like, okay, now we can actually, make it so that you can go to the resorts. I think bypassing the parking was the problem for them. I can't imagine like they're gonna post like guards at like the walking paths toward the Contemporary and the Grand Floridian. I don't see that ever happening. I can't imagine they're gonna be, you know, jealously guarding the Skyliner to make sure that you have a, you know, a Caribbean Beach or a, you know, Art of Animation ticket before you can get on the Skyliner. I don't think we're going to get to that point, but then again, I might be incredibly naive. So,
well, I would look at, you know, the erosion of like the Magical Express, for example. I think when that happened, the bubble really opened up in a way that maybe Disney themselves weren't necessarily prepared for, and certainly something that we didn't experience as guests. And now that we have maybe so many people staying off property, perhaps maybe at Universal or maybe one of their competitors, we have a lot of people coming on to property, taking advantage of amenities that, well, used to be for those actually staying with Disney at that time. And so what are we seeing, Marvin? We're seeing, you know, gates surrounding fireworks viewing at the Contemporary. Well, that's a little weird. That's a little odd. Never seen that before, but c'est la vie. That's what we're getting. We're seeing transportation restrictions and just all these kind of things, Marvin. This language, including about holiday decor. All these things to kind of make it a little bit more exclusive. And it might just be, Marvin, that they're trying to get people to stay on property, and so they have to protect their amenities that they used to have by hook or by crook. And perhaps that's what we're seeing now.
I think quite a few factors are starting to play into them having lower and lower resort guests, lower amount of resort guests coming in. I think getting rid of Magical Express was a huge deterrent and a major mistake. I think that Universal adding new resorts and actually making them really good has definitely hurt them. I think the biggest thing that has hurt them, and I don't think it gets talked about enough, I think Airbnbs are crushing them right now. Because people are making these Airbnbs that you could stay at for the same price as a room at a moderate Disney resort. And it's a house with a kitchen. And a lot of them, Vash, have like arcade rooms and screening rooms and even themed rooms to Disney. Like I've seen ones where like the bed is a castle, or they have a Harry Potter bedroom. Or, you know, Airbnbs in Orlando are insane. And I think a lot of people are starting to use those. And, you know, but then they're still, you know, going to take a look at the decor, and Disney doesn't want that. You know, they want you staying on property. So,
oh, you're right. Robert, I think you're exactly right. I think there's been a lot of competition in the Orlando area, especially from timeshares and everything else, that they're looking at and going, well, we've got a lot more people coming onto property and not necessarily spending or even staying with us. And well, I mean, of course, not staying with us, but just like it does the benefit of facilitating this much traffic outweigh the costs associated with it, right? And I think you know, Disney's taking a look at that right now, which is no good.
And Vash, it's at the point where it's also like trying to think of how I wanted to word this. Yeah, I completely lost it. Sorry. It was like I could feel that thought literally escaping my brain as it was happening. But yeah, Christmas at Disney this year, it's just not going to be nearly as magical. The one major loss that I think I personally get from the Disney Springs thing is getting on the boat at Disney Springs to go have beignets at Port Orleans. Because now they're not even letting you do that anymore, which is insane. Because like you're going there to spend money, which I nobody's going to Port Orleans Resort to take in the atmosphere. Like you're going there to buy beignets, or you're going to Polynesian to go to Trader Sam's, things like that. Like that, and that's why I don't think they're going to stop people from going to the Polynesian, because Trader Sam's walk-up stuff, like you can't make a reservation for that. That is 100%, you know, a high-priced bar that they want people going to. Right. You know, you can lock people out of the pools by having the pools be, you know, Magic Band accessible, which they have for a lot of them. Yeah, but the beignets, that's the big one that really bothers me.
It bothers me tremendously that Disney is shifting towards this direction, right? Because previously it would have been like, hey, let's add more bus drivers, let's add more boat capacity, let's add more, parking spots, and it might just be parking related when it comes to Disney Springs, right? I've heard that, hey, look, listen, parking garages, they get full, they only have so many of them, and so that's really a problem in which there is a scarcity of parking. It's like, okay, well, then add to it, and upon that prospect, it was like, no, it's just easier to deny access. And they're taking the path of least resistance, and I think that's going to continue, unfortunately. Did you like it, Marvin? Well, then you know what comes next.
100%. But, like, the thing with the beignets is there's no other convenient way to get to Port Orleans other than taking a bus from one of the parks. So, it is what it is, guys. This year, Christmas is going to be a little less magical at the most magical place on Earth. All right, let's see if we have any new. We don't have any new super chats, but I did want to point out this one from Chris A. It says, man, we sure play that buck clip a lot lately.
You didn't. Well, of all the cheap, lousy ways to save a buck.
We sure do, Chris. We sure do. All right, Vash. We're moving right along here. We've got a few more stories to go, and you know what? For our next one, I think we're going to take another trip over into your wheelhouse. We're going to be taking a look at Disneyland, specifically how you can go to Disneyland for just $59. Let's have a look in our next story.
It's showtime! Straight from the heart of the park.
Disneyland Resort is offering tickets for just $59. It's one of the most insane deals in Disney Parks history. How can you get it? Well, there's a catch. Let's talk about it today on That Park Place. All right, Vash, let's get into this one from NBC Los Angeles here. By Helen Zhang, published just yesterday, says getting into the happiest place on earth typically comes with a hefty price tag, but Disneyland is offering cheaper tickets in July and early August, just in time for its 70th anniversary. Visitors have a chance to enjoy Disneyland Park of California Adventure. Oh, I think it meant to say or Disney California Adventure Park for just $59, but the catch is the cheaper tickets are for nighttime admission on Sundays through Wednesdays from July 12th through August 5th. The theme park announced Tuesday. The special price comes as Disneyland Resort is celebrating its 70th anniversary this year. The original Disney Park in Anaheim opened on July 17th, 1955. For the limited time ticket holders, Disneyland Park will open at 7 p.m. until the park closes. What time does the park typically close?
Midnight.
Okay, so you're getting like 5 hours out of that. Disneyland California Adventure Park will welcome visitors at 5. $59 tickets need to be reserved in advance. Actually, you know what? I gotta say that this is not a bad deal, especially for locals like who are coming after work or whatever.
Right. And especially if you're on like the Enchant tier, because I think on the Enchant tier of the Magic Key, you are blocked out for pretty much all of summer, especially all of July. So I think this is a way to, even if you did have a Magic Key, you can come on in, like you said, after work and take advantage of the amenities, which, by the way, Marvin, I scoured over this calendar to see, okay, what are the hours, like what are the restrictions, they're having the full entertainment slate, so that includes two performances of Paint the Night, 2 performances of Fantasmic, fireworks on a nightly basis for those nights that are included with this deal right here, and like I said, closing at 12 a.m. or midnight, which it's a pretty solid deal, pretty solid offer right there. Now, here's the thing, folks. If you're thinking you're gonna get in here and the lines are going to be down, I think this is going to be the opposite effect, right? I think a lot of people are going to take advantage of this, and so expect those wait times and so forth and the crowds to climb during this time. But, if this is what we got to do to necessarily have these parks open until 12 a.m., people will note that for the first time ever last year, Christmas, they closed at 11, which I didn't like at all. That was no good. But here, for this entire promotion right here, I think that's, Sundays through Wednesdays from July and the first week of August. It's a pretty solid value, I must say, Marvin.
5 hours for $60? Yeah, I mean, you can't, that's the same amount of time that you typically be able to go to Walt Disney World for Not So Scary Halloween Party, and for that, they're charging you almost $200.
Right. So you gotta think about this. So how much of a value are we talking? The dates that are in question right here, they range from tier 2 to tier 4. Tier 2 being about $150 per person per day to get into Disneyland, that is. And then tier 4 is, I believe, $184. So on any one of those nights, whether it's tier 2 night, tier 3 night, or tier 4 night, you're getting in for 60. It's pretty decent right there, especially if you get one of those tier 4 days like a Sunday. That's it's incredible value when you think about that, and the entertainment offerings. I mean, second to none. I don't think there's any Disney park in the world that offers as much entertainment on a nightly basis that Disneyland does currently.
Okay. The California Adventure, does that close earlier? Does it close at 10?
That closes at 10. Yeah, and they have.
So Disneyland is open so much later than Walt Disney World, because Walt Disney World parks, they're closing at 9, 10 o'clock.
It's a different reality over there at Disneyland. And that's why, from a Disneylander's perspective, I cannot stand the fact that those parks close as early as they do. It just, it fills me with rage, Marvin.
The only time you're getting to stay at Magic Kingdom until midnight is if there's a special event.
Right. Yeah, it really is something how, when it comes to the annual pass holder crowd, they just cater to them a little bit differently. And maybe that's because you have so many annual pass holders coming in from work usually, and so they have to facilitate those longer hours right there. Also, too, because of that distribution, they are better able to manage the crowds coming in and out of the Anaheim area. Because remember, unlike Walt Disney World, there's that transportation infrastructure. Part of that is on the city of Anaheim, so this helps with that as well. And that's why you have the offset hours over there at DCA compared to Disneyland as well.
That is really insane, man. It really is an entire different. Well, I think they cater to annual pass holders differently in Disneyland because they actually cater to annual pass holders at Disneyland.
True.
Walt Disney World does not cater to annual pass holders at all. They do gloriously nothing. They used to. Now they offer discounts and stuff like that still, sure. But you used to get gifts and stuff like that for going to the festivals a certain number of times, nice gifts too, like tumbler glasses and champagne flutes and cutting boards and stuff like that. And now it's just so yeah. And so I'm looking at the chat right now. They're saying, do they still do physical lights on Sleeping Beauty Castle at Christmas?
They do. Yeah, but remember, our castle, I say our, the Disneyland castle is about 70 feet. So in terms of heights, it's a little bit different of a prospect, in order to drape lights on that. And it doesn't look, they don't drape nearly as many lights, even with the smaller stature. I would say the percentage of lights to the actual castle is a little bit lower than what was actually on offer at Magic Kingdom, which is a little bit unfortunate, but they do still do lights. And, look, I got to be honest, when you're looking at the attraction assortment when you go to Disneyland, when you're looking at the vast entertainment offerings, that's a tremendous value. The only thing I think it's missing is really dining. Dining, yes, the park is open longer, sure, but dining has been kind of withering away in terms of the hours of operation, going from 10 or 11 to 9 or 8, so you might be at a little bit of a disadvantage when it comes to dining at Disneyland if that's the park you actually choose to embark in with this offering right here. Besides the fact, I think the value is there. I worry about operations because you're going to have a huge segment of guests maybe even lining up before that 7 p.m. start time. I do believe they might go a little bit early in order to, prevent those crowds from really forming right there. But alas, I think there's going to be additional demand from Sundays through Wednesdays for the next month or so.
Well, that is a really good point there, Vash. So, guys, right now, if you are a local in California and you want to get to Disneyland, but you don't want to pay, all day Disneyland prices, you can get 5 hours for just $60. That is actually not bad at all. Kudos to Disneyland for doing something that actually helps the local population. And hey, Walt Disney World, ball's in your court now, buddy. Yeah, right. That'll never happen. Oh,
so
boy,
very
gosh.
true.
It really is. It's sad but true. They gloriously will give you nothing. terrible.
I hate that. I hate that. I do like how Disneyland, because it has, I think, 75% of the annual population is annual pass holders. Because they have such a robust local population, they kind of have to cater to them, like you said, a little bit more than maybe some of the other parks around the world. And with that, they have to try a little bit harder to get their cash. So there you go.
Well, Universal and SeaWorld have actual like annual pass holder lounges where like specific areas designed for AP holders. SeaWorld, I mean, in SeaWorld, they've got like a soda fountain specific for annual pass holders. Like for free. You just walk up and fill up your cup with with soft drinks, because they're just like, please come in and be with us, like come to our park because we desperately need it.
Yeah, Disneyland has nothing like that. And Walt Disney World obviously doesn't have it either. Now, if you're a big DVC spender, oh sure, the lounges abound. But
if you're a DVC, if you're in DVC, you can have lounges wherever you want. But we can't all be DVC. Like, and Universal has the they don't give anything away for free, but they do have the Universal Pass Holders Lounge at Islands of Adventure, which is in the Betty Boop building. Like you can go in there. There's seating. There's air conditioning. There's usually, when there's like specific like pass holder merch, it's there. Or if they're doing giveaways, like they did like this Grinch button or magnets and stuff like that, you can get them there. So everyone else does stuff for APs except for Disney World. They like they're like, oh, VI pass holder days. I'm like, yeah, what is that? Exclusive merch and a discount. Like everyone else already does that all year round. So shut up. All right. But for our next story, Vash, we are going across the pond a little bit. We are heading over to the lovely world of Disneyland Paris, because there's some stuff going on, and our friend Caroline Reed has got the story over on Forbes. So let's have a look.
There we go. One more for the top. Triple decker, just how you like it.
Wow, thanks, Mr. Walt.
You enjoy it.
We will.
Is Disney selling out Disneyland Paris to the Middle East? Well, according to a Forbes article by our friend Caroline Reed, one of the premier theme park reporters in the world, ladies and gentlemen, that might just be the case. We're going to talk about it here today on That Park Place. Well, Vash, this article from Caroline over at Forbes, we love Caroline Reed. She's a great friend of That Park Place. I speak to her, on a pretty consistent basis because we share information back and forth about stuff. But here in her article about Disneyland Paris, it says Mubadala Capital, the asset management subsidiary of Abu Dhabi sovereign wealth fund Mubadala Investments investment company, has bid $1.1 billion for French leisure operator Pierre and that Center Parks, whose portfolio includes Le Village, I hate French words, Le Village Nature Paris, an eco resort near Disneyland Paris, co-developed by Disney. Mubadala Investment Company, the parent company of Mubadala Capital, is a diversified investment company operating in more than 50 countries across 6 continents with $430 billion in assets under management. This Pierre and Vacances is a natural fit with Mubadala's focus on long-term investments, founded in 1967, and operates more than 45,000 apartments, houses, and villas across 330 European sites. Last year, it welcomed nearly 8 million guests and generated $2.2 billion in revenue, with net profits of $46.7 million. Its best-known brand is Center Parks, whose forest resorts are famous across Europe for their indoor water parks beneath vast glass domes. One of the most distinctive properties is the 640-acre Le Village Nature Paris, an eco-resort co-developed with Disney. The project was led creatively by Disney Imagineer Joe Rohde, best known for designing Disney's Animal Kingdom, and features geothermal heating, extensive natural landscapes, and a car-free design. One of the company's biggest sites is 640 acres Le Village Nature Paris, which is just 4 miles away from Disneyland Paris. The eco resort opened in 2017 and was originally a 50-50 joint venture between Disneyland Paris and Pierre and Vacances. No expense was spared, according to John Hammond. On opening day, they announced that investment for the first phase of development totals approximately 500 million and has seen 5 million euros and has seen 868 of a total 1,083 apartments and cottages ready. So basically, Pierre and Vacancy managed the resort and developed its business model where the cottages and apartments are sold to private individual investors and leased back. Disneyland Paris's contribution was creating the resort's entertainment and storytelling. This was spearheaded by landscape architect Thierry Huao and Joe Rohde, one of Disney's famed Imagineers. So yeah, Vash, this area by Disneyland Paris, it looks like it's a place partially owned by Disneyland Paris, is being sold to a Middle Eastern company. And that's interesting.
Now, at least they're making a bid for it, which is very, very interesting, right? Really underscores the amount of Middle Eastern asset management companies that are buying all kinds of stuff all over the world recently, and looking to get into leisure, looking to get into specifically European tourism, which is very, very interesting right there. Now, I must confess, I didn't much know about Le Village Nature Paris. I do apologize about that. I had no idea that it was actually done by Joe Rohde. So that's a little bit gap in my coverage right there. The fact that you do have what is it? Mubadala Capital right there, interested in something like this. It really does underscore, like, for example, Disney Abu Dhabi. Why would Disney actually take up the Middle East in order to provide something like that when they have been approached before and have declined? It just may be a sign of the changing times.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that's really interesting, Theme Park Insider has been talking about Disney Abu Dhabi, and has he stated that he's found no notice or announcement that Disney and Morale have actually signed the final agreement yet. Have you heard about this?
I have heard about that. Yeah, that it's still kind of ongoing or whatever. That there's been a commitment of some kind, but in terms of the deal actually struck, we would expect to see that in SEC filings or anything else, and it just hasn't come up yet.
Well, so we also saw, Jim Schul had confirmed that there was a pause during the ongoing issues with Iran happening over in the Middle East. That construction had paused. Now, Disney has never announced that construction paused or even that construction had even started. Take a look at this right here from Theme Park Insider. This is where he says right here, I have found no notice or announcement that Disney and Morale have signed a final agreement or that Morale is making payments to Disney that would allow development work to resume. I have not heard that this happened or that this has not happened. No information either way. So that's an interesting thing, Vash. Do you think this Disney Abu Dhabi project could actually fall flat on its face? Could that possibly happen? And what would that be for Bob Iger? This was his last big thing.
This is the last big thing, and what we had said back in the day when this actually was announced is this is the project that really kind of spearheaded or championed Josh D'Amaro's ascension to maybe that CEO level. Because remember, before this, it was Dana Walton's to lose, and I do believe when that was announced, well, she officially lost it right there. So big implications for the entire Walt Disney Company and its leadership, both past and present, which is very, very interesting. There is all the chance in the world that this actually falls through, and it wouldn't be the first time a big project like this had fallen through by one of the big two, that being Universal Parks, of course, and Disney. So, when you're looking at something like this, maybe Morales says, you know what, the price you're charging right there doesn't make much sense. Disney's saying, look, we got to protect our investment if we're going to put our name on it, and those two don't think.
What investment, though? Because Disney's not actually making an investment in this, are they? Like, they're just getting paid for it.
Well, I mean, I guess
the investment of their name and their reputation. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it's just a really interesting, fluid situation. Obviously, now it's very, very interesting because I think Bloomberg, especially as it relates to the new Audiomatronic, the new projection face in Pirates of the Caribbean that actually just launched. Bloomberg is making the statement that, hey, this actually could be a test, and Disney, Imagineering is alluding to that very strongly. But this is a test to showcase maybe to Morale what they can actually do for their park. So, obviously this stuff is moving through the pipeline right here, and it's a very fluid situation in the Middle East, as you know, Marvin. Now, I did hear. I mean, this is not anything exclusive to me, but the the oil reserves and everything like that, where Middle Eastern money is made right there. They're looking to diversify, right? And that's why they were, that's why they were actually getting into leisure. That's why they're actually getting Disney to build them a resort. But now it's kind of like, okay, well, if there's going to be so much instability in this region, maybe we go out and buy up tourism or leisure facilities that already exist around the world, particularly Europe, and that might be why we're getting to this point right here.
That's 100% true. Yeah, that is very, very true, Vash. I think that I think people are a little uncomfortable with Middle Eastern companies getting as involved as they're getting in a lot of like things like tourism. But you have to understand that also they're already everywhere. Like if you're using Twitter, I believe the Saudi Arabian government like owns a chunk of Twitter. There's a whole lot of stuff going on with that. But this Disney Abu Dhabi thing, it's never sat right with me from the very beginning. I keep thinking like they announced so little of it. They did not announce the site, the construction site. They did not announce the details. They did not show any plans. How like you'd think if they were announcing, like when Universal announced Epic Universe, they showed this big sweeping map of what it was going to look like.
Right.
The big concept art of like the overhead shot. Same thing with UK, Universal UK. But like we've got nothing from Morale and Disney about this.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. The Universal United Kingdom Resort, they showed, the big sprawl and what they were actually going to do. And I understand it's a little bit, more straightforward because Universal is so heavily involved in that. It's not necessarily a joint venture like this is. And especially when Morale's putting up all the money in the world in order to facilitate this. And it's going to be like a royalty deal. I understand while things are vague, but you're totally right, Marvin. We just haven't gotten many details here. And so a lot of this is, like I said, up in the air because we don't have any details, right? And Morale, the CEO there, just recently visited WDI, so it's kind of like, okay, is this actually going to happen? Are you getting deals done? Are you getting things facilitated? We just don't know. Now, what's interesting, Marvin, I understand Comcast just spun off NBC Universal, but you remember, Marvin, that Brian Roberts, CEO of Comcast, actually went down to the Middle East. A lot of people thinking, is he going to try to get funding for Warner Bros. Discovery? Well, it didn't actually happen. But a lot of people felt that is he making this move in order to maybe possibly get a Universal Park built in the Middle East? Very, very interesting because obviously that was on the table for some time back in the day. That project, outside of its what? Oh, good.
I just don't understand how that is a tourist destination, like a global tourist destination, when it's such a powder keg.
And that's the thing that's really interesting about this. And honestly, that was the whole underpinning initially of the Abraham Accords back in the day. It was like, look, listen, we have to come together here. If you want to go ahead and make this a tourist destination, people have to know that it's actually safe to visit that. So here's this peace agreement in order to, finalize all of this and get people going here. Obviously, that kind of fell through a little bit, and especially with the current situation now.
To the shock of everyone.
Well, yes, it's just one of those things, unfortunately, right? But you hear Bob Iger saying, "Oh, it's the gateway to the world" or whatever, with that. Was it Dubai or Abu Dhabi airport? I can't quite remember, and I do apologize right there. But we saw in this current conflict right there when that airport, the international airport that had that major travel hub, actually went down for a period of time because of what was actually going on there. So I would say until that stuff is resolved, I think even interest or intrigue into this, well, it's going to fall short for a lot of people.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Yep, guys, we're going to see whether or not Disney is going to be getting into business with more Middle Eastern companies or whether they're even in business officially with one to begin with. Oh, man. We could have had time to talk about Universal this week. I should have put it in there anyway.
These things happen, Marvin, and don't worry. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. That's somebody.
Well, hey, we're going into the 4th of July, Vash. What are your 4th of July plans this year?
Ooh, 4th of July plans. Well, I don't have many big plans of my own, unfortunately. I was supposed to go to California, but that didn't quite happen right there. I still might. I don't know. But I know for the channel, we're going to have a special episode on Vash and Vixen, actually, going over the history of Americana-themed attractions over there at Disney parks, right? So like the America on Parade or America Sings, great moments, maybe perhaps Hall of Presidents and beyond, all of those things. I think it's going to be a really, really cool thing. So currently I'm setting up for that, but outside of that, I'll just enjoy the fireworks in my local area.
I don't think I'm even doing fireworks this year. I think I am. I'm having my in-laws over like I did last year. So last year I went to the Magic Kingdom in the morning to take a look at the crowds, and then came back and had family over. This year I think I'm gonna have. I'm barbecuing. I'm smoking a pulled pork. So, dude, I did it last week. Like I did like a test run last weekend. And like it was like I don't say I did a great job on things very often. I did a good job on this one. Like when I pulled that pork out, and I grabbed onto the bone, and the bone just went right out, clean as a whistle. Like it was incredible. But I'm gonna have to like start like preparing it at like 3 a.m. and then constantly I have an offset smoker, so I have to constantly manage the temperature. So, but I posted pictures of it on X though, and it just came out so good.
Oh man! Oh, you're gonna have me come over one of these 4th of July.
Seriously,
that's gonna be fantastic.
I smoked it all morning. And then when it was when it hits a stall where like the internal temperature kind of stalls out at around 160, and so that's when you have to wrap it, because that like to keep the temperature going. So instead of just wrapping it in foil and continuing to cook it, I actually put it in an aluminum pan with Dr. Pepper, barbecue sauce, Frank's Red Hot, and a stick of butter, and the rest of the rub that I used for this. On like the top of it for the crust. Oh man, it was good. Like, and then so I put it in that pan, covered that with foil, and then finished it in the oven for several hours, and just like 275, just till it slowly got up to that like 204 degrees Fahrenheit, and then like you stick the probe in it, and it just slides in like butter, and you're like, okay, it's done. Like, I will say I had a lot of advice from 2 glorious pitmasters. One of them was WDW Pro, and the other one was actually Fear the Beardo from Geeks and Gamers. Both gave me a lot of great. Beardo was the one that gave me the advice for the Dr. Pepper and all that stuff in the pan instead of just the wrap, which, I mean, that worked out tremendously.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. It's like become like a new thing that I'm like passionate about, is making barbecue.
I love that. But, yeah, I've heard the Dr. Pepper trick right there. Apparently, there's obviously an enhanced effect with the carbonation, but those 23 flavors or whatever, they really seep in, from what I understand.
Lauren,
sounds so good.
Lauren makes barbecue sauce out of Dr. Pepper, and he swears by it. He says it's the greatest thing. So, yep. But yeah, so no. I think I may go during the weekend to Disney at a certain point in time. Just to kind of see what it's like for 4th of July weekend, but yeah, not actually going to go on the 4th, I don't think. I did, however, see a bunch of they had some Sam Eagle semi-quincentennial merchandise, so I did get a shirt.
Yeah, I saw that, and obviously the popcorn buckets are an item that everybody wants right there. So
I want that so badly, and I feel like I'm not going to be able to get it because they're just going to go so fast. Are they out yet, those popcorn buckets?
I don't know if they are. Sorry, guys. I know we're theme park experts and everything like that, but we don't typically, track.
We don't know every single thing.
Right.
All right. Let's get into our last story here, Vash, because it's a doozy, and I'm gonna get heated during it. So. Yeah, buckle up.
I just can't wait for 3 days of you and me.
Well, the Walt Disney Company has closed down several major fan favorite attractions in Walt Disney World over the last year, and now, apparently, they're stripping it for parts and selling off the nostalgia back to the people whose hearts it broke. Let's talk about it today on That Park Place. Vash, can you tell I'm a little opinionated on this subject?
I can only imagine.
Yeah,
Marvin.
so
only imagine.
From thatparkplace.com, written by me, Disney World is selling off remains of beloved demolished attractions like Muppet Vision 3D, Dinosaur, and Tom Sawyer Island at auction. For decades, Disney fans have accepted that beloved attractions may eventually close to make way for something new. It's part of the life cycle of a theme park. What many fans have a much harder time accepting, however, is the idea that Disney World would first shutter cherished attractions, demolish them, and then turn around and sell the pieces back to fans for a premium at auction. And that's exactly what appears to be happening. Disney has announced a new partnership with Heritage Auctions that will see authentic props, signs, and other artifacts from retired Disney Parks attractions auctioned off beginning during D23 in August. Among the attractions reportedly being stripped for auction are Muppet Vision 3D, Dinosaur at Tom Sawyer Island, and the Rivers of America, locations that many fans had hoped Disney would preserve in some fashion. The Disney Asset Management team has reportedly been collecting prop, signs, and themed elements from recently shuttered attractions specifically for future auction sales. Rather than preserving the pieces for archives, museums, or potential future use, the company plans to sell them to the highest bidder through Heritage Auctions. Disney describes the program as giving these items their next chapter with the fans who treasure them the most, aka super rich people, Vash.
Of course. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess let's go ahead and profit off your memories right here. By the way, Marvin, this is very Paul Pressler-esque, but we'll get into that in just a second.
Critics, however, are likely to see something much different. For many longtime guests, this isn't about giving fans an opportunity to own Disney history. It's about Disney finding another revenue stream after permanently eliminating experiences that guests spent decades loving. The emotional attachment fans have to these attractions is precisely what gives these props value. Without those memories, those pieces of wood, fiberglass signs, and set dressing would be worthless. So essentially, it is destroy the attraction and sell the pieces, Vash. But now, what does this tell me immediately? Muppet Vision 3D, probably not ever coming back. We have been hoping for quite some time that Disney might rethink the decision to take out Muppet Vision 3D. They've hinted in the past that the show would continue to live on in some way. A lot of people were hoping, and we had heard rumors that they were going to eventually take that horrible, deeply unpopular villain show out of the theater next to Rock and Roller Coaster and put Muppet Vision 3D back in there. However, Vash, that does not appear to be the case.
Looks like it is not going to be the case right there. If they're already removing not only props, but instead of storing them, they're getting rid of them. I think we had heard from Pro that maybe some props were ending up in some places. I think the new Muppets take on Rock and Roller Coaster right there.
Yes, so there are a lot of props from like the queue area, like the pre-show room, and plus the Statler and Waldorf animatronics as well, which kind of have ended up in Rock and Roller Coaster now. So here's the thing: I always said that the only way they're going to bring Muppet Vision back would be if they have the ability to just pick it up and put it in a new location without spending a whole lot of money redeveloping things. Unfortunately, that does not appear to be the case because they're selling this stuff off. They've repurposed a lot of this stuff. I think Muppet Vision 3D is in our rearview mirror for good.
I think so. I don't think there's any intention to bring it back, which is really, really unfortunate. I do think the rumors of having maybe a VR experience available somewhere, I think those could go somewhere. I think that's legitimate. I think that's accurate right there. But in terms of restoring this attraction to its former glory, I just don't see it. And that's really unfortunate, too, because, well, at Disney California Adventure anyway, we still have that Muppets Theater right there. But a lot of people are saying, well, maybe that's on the chopping block, too, for Avatar. So the venues by which you can even bring this back just don't appear to be present, which is very much unfortunate. And to actually sell out these assets, that just puts a pin in it as far as I'm concerned, and that's just really, really sad.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they got this idea when a while back, because Disney used to just store everything because you never know when you want to bring something back out, roll something back out, and so when Spectrum Magic, the nighttime parade went away, Disney took all the floats and they stored them in disassembled states in an area kind of by Bay Lake, off kind of in the woods on the far end of Bay Lake. Well, what happened was something was wrong environmentally, and basically the floats got ruined, from what I understand. And it got to the point where like, well, we could never use these again. So what they did was they like chopped up the floats and would put like a piece of like the wood from one of the floats in like a locket, and they started selling those off, and people bought them like crazy. And the second Disney realizes that they can monetize something, woof, the dollar signs appear in their heads. And so now, but like, so it's like you upset so many people by closing Tom Sawyer Island, by closing the Muppets. I think everyone kind of saw the writing on the wall with Dinosaur. And now you're going to turn around and be like, hey, we ripped your heart out on this, but now you could bid to own a piece of it. And it's not like this is a thing that's going to benefit the average Disney fan. It's only going to benefit their favorite Disney fans, which are the Disney fans who either have an absurd amount of money to blow on things, or the Disney fans who will go in, are deeply irresponsible and will go into considerable debt in order to own something that at one point touched Walt Disney World. But like Disney fans were always pretty rabid about like owning things from the park. Like I had heard from character performers that like they would have to watch out because there were people that would literally try to cut pieces of their costumes off.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I read that in the cast member confessionals book one time. They were like, people will literally try to rip off a piece of your costume to keep it.
Oh, that is absolutely insane. Now, I mean, monetization, exploitation of guests there, I guess, is not even a news story. But it is really, really interesting just how rabid that fan base is, and obviously Disney understanding that, well, they can cater them in all kinds of creative ways, which most unfortunate, especially for the attractions that we love and we're hoping to actually be restored in some way, like Muppets, for example. But this really does remind me of like those 90s, that era right there, because when eBay became a thing, Marvin, oh boy, did we see a litany of different things wind up on eBay by Disney. And a lot of people got a lot of memorabilia and so forth, some things that you wouldn't have expected, like for example the Disneyland sign over there at John Stamos' house right now, which is absolutely extraordinary. But like ride vehicles and so forth and all kinds of stuff that Disney, are just saying, hey, look, listen, we're not going to store anything. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this stuff, and c'est la vie. That's the end of it right there. And I don't know. I think we're in that era again of getting rid of some of the stuff, and I just don't like it, Marvin. It just feels not good.
No, yeah, it definitely doesn't. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like it's a hard thing because like there's an argument, like it says here in the article, that these props will ultimately be appreciated by passionate collectors who genuinely care about Disney history, which is not inherently a bad thing. But the concern is that what Disney is now choosing to give up, because museums and archives preserve that history, and Disney itself has historically preserved much of its own legacy. Selling that to private collections mean that these things will never again be seen by the general public. Right. And, when you build your company on a foundation of nostalgia and legacy, it's a remarkable shift in philosophy, away from, we're going to respect our past, we're going to display our past, we have all these things that we can roll out, in the future, to just like, we're going to make the money now really quickly and like, get the quick cash grab. Of course, ultimately, every fan has to decide how they feel about Disney's newest business venture. Some collectors will undoubtedly welcome the opportunity to own authentic pieces of Disney Parks history. This is going to go for a whole lot of money, Vash.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Yeah,
These things are going to go for so much.
Extraordinary, which it's really kind of interesting, too, to actually do this at D23. Remember, this was like a fan event right here. Now we're just using it as another venue, which is to sell, I guess, other things, which is extraordinary. But Marvin, I do think you're right. I think these go for a lot of big bucks right here, and hey, it's what Disney wants, and that's the resistance.
Here's the main thesis here, Vash, because Disney isn't simply retiring attractions; it's tearing them down, harvesting the pieces, and then asking the very fans who begged for their preservation to bid against one another for the privilege of taking home a fragment of what they destroyed.
So beautifully worded right there, Marvin. That is exactly what's going on right here.
Thank you very much.
It is extraordinary.
It's the monetization of emotions and memories.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh, man, the direct monetization as well. Well, okay. If I could add maybe a ray of sunshine here. I remember back in the day, I think it was the 1990s. Yeah, it was the mid-1990s when Electrical Parade was officially being retired at Disneyland. It had played, from 1972 onward right there, and a beloved parade, and everybody loved it. Everybody had great fond memories of it. But it's going to glow away forever. That was the tagline that they actually used right there. And as part of that, they actually sold individual light bulbs of those parade units right there. People said, okay, that's it. It's gone. And then it winds up in Paris, and then eventually it makes its way back to Disneyland Park. So, sometimes when you do harvest the organs and actually, remove this stuff, sometimes it comes back.
It does, and that's a great, the Main Street Electrical Parade is a phenomenal example of them repurposing it and bringing it back and improving on it. And that's what everyone was hoping was going to happen here. But if you're selling it off, because if they have to rebuild props, if they have to rebuild signage, they're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it, no. Especially old animatronics and stuff like that. I mean, you can just kiss those goodbye. Now,
that's when you look at how bad that villain show is. It's so, I never see people go back there for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Nobody even knows that it's there.
Now, has attendance increased at all since maybe Muppets has been installed? Perhaps it's getting some, some crossover business right there, or no?
It might be getting some, but I honestly, I think that the rock and roller coaster crowds are going to normalize very quickly. Yeah. I think that you're going to start getting. Hold on, let me take a look right now. I'm going to open up the Disney World app.
That'd be an interesting idea.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a look at what it is saying right now for Disney's Hollywood Studios. I'm anticipating probably wait times in excess of an hour for that right now, but who knows?
Let's go ahead and look up those times, and as Marvin actually is doing that, right?
Yeah, I'm in the app right now, and I'm looking over at Hollywood Studios. Is that Hollywood Studios? Yes, it is. Hollywood Studios right now. Yeah, right now it's about 70-minute wait. For Muppet Vision. Yes. Or not Muppet Vision, Muppet Rock and Roller Coaster. That's been about what it's been for a while. And honestly, also, Vash, wasn't that kind of what Rock and Roller Coaster was doing? Before?
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be about an hour or so, and that's really consistent with that attraction. Even though it's an older attraction, there's not a ton of things to do in Disney's Hollywood Studios. So your e-tickets are always going to be slammed a little bit.
And honestly, I think that this is probably a very busy day right now with the 4th of July weekend, because I'm looking, Smuggler's Run is at 50 minutes right now. And Slinky Dog Dash is, of course, at 130 minutes. So, everything is pretty much around 35, 40 minutes. 40-minute wait for Runaway Railway right now. 40-minute wait for Toy Story Mania. Looks like 30 minutes for Alien Swirling Saucers, 70 for Rise of the Resistance. Star Tours still just a 10-minute wait, which, I like that Star Tours is reliable like that, where you can just kind of go on it whenever you want. But if you look over at Epcot though, it looks like Soarin' Across America is only 30 minutes right now.
So some of those summertime investments right there not necessarily paying off. Who knew, Marvin, that people wouldn't necessarily be that fond or interested in going on a 30-year-old coaster with just a Muppets overlay?
Yeah, go figure. Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way, also just has 70 minutes right now. Also, I don't think Epcot is very crowded today, based on what I'm seeing here. But, yep, there you go, guys. They are taking away the things you love, stripping it down for parts, and then trying to sell it back to you, or even worse, making you battle it out with other people that miss these things, and the person with the most money wins. And honestly, if that is not a metaphor for the modern Walt Disney Company, I don't know what is. The person with the most money wins. All right, Vash, we got some super chats going on here, some super duper chats. We got WJB Daily for $2. Says Disney stock is $96.59 with the Toy Story 5 performance. That's crazy. Because Toy
Well,
Story
what was it
5 is
before-
doing exceptionally well.
Well, yeah, but it's one movie in their media empire, right? I mean, because
Right.
they have so many verticals, it's kind of like, okay, well,
Yeah.
yeah, you hit it great this week, but what are you going to do for me the upcoming years?
Right, and then before that was Mandalorian and Grogu, which
Right, so you
is
can't
that
even
even
get the
still
year
in
right.
theaters? What is the hold on, Mandalorian
Oh, yeah,
and
we gotta look
Grogu
that up.
box office, because I would love to see what that's. I believe it passed 300 million, right? Yeah,
Yeah, that was just short of 4.
327. No, not even 327 million worldwide. Domestic gross is not even 200 million. Domestic gross is 175.
Wow.
With an international gross of 152. Dude, this movie did nothing.
Just nobody wanted to see it. And so it's like, oh, well, one of Iger's investments underperformed again.
And I'm telling you, man, when Spider-Man Brand New Day does better than Avengers Doomsday this year, I'm going to laugh so hard. Because if the only company making money off of the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point is going to be Sony, I'm going to really laugh at that. Though lots of rumors that Sony is in talks with Disney to sell Spider-Man back to them for something like $11 billion or something like that.
Wow, $11 billion.
That's what I've been hearing. That's what I've been hearing through the grapevine. I take that for what I don't have any like big sources on that. It's just what I've been seeing on X. But apparently the logic is, well, why spend or why not just get all we could probably get out of Spider-Man for the next decade in box office returns right now at once?
Yeah,
by selling it back to Disney. So
especially if they need it, but I don't know if Disney's going to be willing to pay $11 billion. I don't even know if they have the merchandise rights.
It's the only Marvel thing that actually hits.
But they paid 4 for all of Marvel back in 2012. So
I mean, like I said, I just saw it on X that it was going to be like 11 billion, but who knows?
Right, okay.
Packing protons for 10, says Servo. Oh, I wish I was back in old Canada, a land which I shall never lampoon. How I pine for the ice covering Lake Manitoba and the beauty that is Saskatoon. And Mike says, I've got one. Now it's a Mystery Science Theater 3000 reference, but
I see.
Over my head. But thank you for the 10 packing protons. Barnes and Noobs for $20. Have you guys seen that TikTok video of the obnoxious Disney adult couple that was going around X recently? They were being hailed as the epitome of everything wrong with the parks today. They're bashing classic rides, etc. Oh, I think I saw this. It's like they're bashing all the classic rides and saying that things have to change. Like, everything is, everything the modern company does is perfect.
Yeah,
I saw something like that.
There is an allegation, Marvin. I was actually having a conversation with somebody that you certainly know, and I don't know, maybe comments and thoughts, maybe featured on the show already. Anyway, I was having a conversation with this person, and it was very interesting because apparently Disney may have switched tact when it comes to influencer culture, in that a lot of their new expansions or perhaps projects, right? Like Carousel of Progress, for example.
Yeah.
They've switched the tact from a couple of years ago, back in 2024, right? Do you remember, Marvin, when we were covering the dirt track, stuff related to Rivers of America, right? And that video went viral and everybody just hated what they actually saw. Apparently, they consulted. They got consultants there that suggested, okay, look, listen, here's what you should do. You should bring in your influencers and sell those products for you. So what they're doing is they're bringing in, some big name personalities, having them, come in on early on the process and development cycle, and they're pitching all of this stuff to them, right? And they're basically selling it to them. So that way, these influencers, when they actually talk about these things, like, for example, you remember the Carousel of Progress, revamp, and how everybody had a story, everybody had a video, the day that it actually happened? That's because they were let in early on that process, and they sell the parks, they sell their projects, and so forth. So this video right here is, well, I don't think it's necessarily directly influenced by that, but there's something happening there.
I think this is the video they're talking about. So hold on, let me play it for you real quick.
You got it. Please go ahead.
Do you hear any? Oh, I don't hear anything.
Don't hear anything myself.
Do you hear it now?
Very
Do you hear it?
faintly. Faintly.
Okay. All right, so she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think?
It's 2026. Stop complaining. You know what? I think I know the problem. Hold on, I have to reshare it.
Right, because
yeah, let me just
default is not to share audio. I got you.
Yep, share screen. Sometimes when you share too many things, like for a while, it's like, oh, now you don't have audio. Here it is. All right, so here we go.
So what do you think?
It's 2026.
You hear it now?
Stop complaining when they put Tiana in Splash Mountain. Stop complaining when they change things for the better.
For the better.
Okay, we're evolving. Evolve.
100% agree. The parks are gonna change.
They're gonna change. It has to change. It has.
This woman to me represents the de-evolution of society. We have to evolve.
Exactly.
We have to update. We have to keep up. Technology is changing. Everything is changing.
I'm not gonna be coming here if it's the same thing like every 2 years. Come on.
I've been coming to this park since I was 16 years old. I am now older than 16. My daughter just turned 18. We've been bringing her since she was 6 years old. Everything has to change. It has to grow. It's 2026, y'all. Keep up.
I agree.
Oh,
it's current year, Marvin.
It's current year. Keep up, Vash.
Oh my God.
Good Lord.
It's
The
absolutely
FTM for
insufferable.
$2 says Dreamlight, Spectro, Electric Parade, Muppets. Ugh. I agree. Ugh, indeed.
I know we have to change though, Marvin. It's current year.
Mm-hmm. And then DL Racer for 2 says, when is Cars Land expected to open up at Walt Disney World? 2030? I don't know.
2029, 2030. I think Marvin's got that exactly right. Well, Cars Land might come faster than Villains Land, but
you think?
You're probably working on that same timeline.
Oh, good. We were right. Barnes and Noob says we found the right one.
Gotcha.
There was more. There was more to it. And you know what? We got time. I'm gonna play more of it. Just
sure.
Although I will say, some things we can leave the same.
No, some things are classic and some things will always remain.
Okay, hold on. So some
something.
things we can leave. Splash Mountain's not one of those things, though. Okay.
Splash Mountain was not one of them.
I thought it was.
Oh, they even said Splash Mountain was not one of them. Vash, listen.
Splash Mountain was not one of them.
Splash Mountain was not one of them. I'm sorry. It's 2026. Let it go back to the vault.
It's current year, Vash.
It's current year. Well, we have to change it. That's not classic, Marvin, because it doesn't. It's not ideologically consistent to my belief structure or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Now Tokyo can have it. It's fine there.
Yeah.
Just can't be in the American parks though.
You're done.
Like I experienced it. I had fun with it.
Everybody did.
I don't need it.
So some things are classic and can remain, but everything else can go. So where do we make the distinction about what is classic and what needs to change and what needs to go?
The South was objectively disgusting. It was objectively disgusting. We're done.
I also just.
Sorry, what was objectively disgusting?
What? Go back.
Everybody did.
I don't need to do it anymore.
South was objectively disgusting. It was
I think you're objectively disgusting. Like,
probably
Song of the
hasn't
South
even
was
seen the
objectively
movie.
disgusting. Yeah, I guarantee you this woman has not seen the movie.
Absolutely. There's no question. You wouldn't be saying that if you did. You're just reading what everybody else said about it, and because it's not actually out there for you to, easily see it, or maybe you don't have an interest in it, well, now you're just going to go ahead and draw your own conclusions from what you're reading and not necessarily what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
objectively disgusting. We're done.
I also just, nobody really cared for that movie. I'd never.
Lots of people cared for that movie. Captain Mustache. Thank you for speaking for the masses. You are the voice of the generation, sir. Continue to carry on in your V-neck T-shirt with your mustache. Yes, you are the one that speaks to the quality that we all agree on.
A single person who actually watched that movie.
Oh, I did. I've seen it. I'm old enough to have seen it.
Oh, okay. So she says she has seen it. Okay, so maybe I was wrong. But it's objectively disgusting.
Old enough
By the way,
to have seen it.
You're using objectively wrong, ma'am.
It's objectively disgusting.
You know, it is subjectively disgusting to you, whereas other people might actually find it subjectively pleasing to them. That is the definition of subjectivity and objectivity, because, you know, they're two very different things.
And they knew
Still
it, and they got
unbelievable.
rid of it, and now it's Tiana, and it's beautiful.
And it's beautiful when it works.
Oh, but it's beautiful, Marvin. It's beautiful.
It's so beautiful that
Yes.
people are literally diving out of it at the drop. And thankfully not getting hurt.
Thankfully,
Is there anything you wouldn't update?
Anything that's made off of like the classic movies, like the Win.
Like it's talking to itself as a classic movie.
it just came out in 1940, Marvin. It's not really a classic.
No, yeah, Walt Disney
insane.
just directly worked on it, but it's not a classic.
It is extraordinary.
Ride. Well, that could maybe use
Okay,
a couple of updates, but
Winnie the Pooh, I wouldn't mind a Japanese.
I'm sorry, classic ride is Winnie the Pooh. That was put up in the 2000s.
That's true. In place of another.
Mr.
Was classic?
Toad's Wild Ride.
Right.
Japan version here.
okay, there's a difference between updating the technology and then updating the story.
Okay.
Right? So if you were updating technology, update technology all day long.
Gotcha.
As technology grows, update the technology.
So just like complete ride retheming, ride swap.
Like,
You want to know what really ticks me off about this, Vash?
Please.
I feel like this is what modern Imagineering meetings are like.
Yes, that is a really fantastic point right there. So some people are saying, oh, this is just rage bait, but I think you're right, Marvin. I think this is an outgrowth of that, right?
Yeah. I almost don't want to continue, but
yeah. But let's not mess with the story on some of them. Like, we don't need to mess with Winnie the Pooh and the story. And
because Winnie the Pooh as a story is fine for you ideologically, so it's fine for you ideologically, so it can remain. Okay, good. We're caught up.
Small World can probably stay exactly the way it is.
Disneyland version is great.
Probably.
Small World can probably stay the way it is. You're not offended by the racial stereotypes in Small World, because I feel like that argument's coming in the next 10 years.
I think you're exactly right there. Yeah. I think you're
suddenly
exactly right. And there have been
Small World is going to be objectively offensive, Vash.
Objectively, yes.
It's modern year. It's modern year. We cannot have Small World anymore.
No,
it's not
it's
a small
2028. It's 2032. It's 2041. We can't have this. Yeah, no, I know. Current year argument is hilarious to me. But Marvin, there have been some rumors actually of getting rid of maybe Walt Disney World's Small World in order to allow access or another attraction in Villains Land. Have you heard that at all?
I have not heard that at all. If that happened, if they got rid of Small World.
I mean, they got rid of Birds of America. They got rid of Muppets. Marvin, everything's on the table.
Everything's on the table.
Walt Disney World could kick rocks.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's a lot of things.
Wait, what did he say? It could kick rocks?
Walt Disney World's version, I think, can kick rocks.
Small World can probably stay exactly the way it is.
Disneyland version is great. Walt Disney World could kick.
I'm sorry, the Disneyland version is great, but the Walt Disney World version, the Disneyland version where they've injected all the IP into it?
Yeah,
but the Walt Disney World version, the classic version, the actual version that Walt approved, that can kick rocks, according to this guy.
Kick rocks.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's a lot of things we can learn from Tokyo Disney and Disney Sea. We just got to go last year. It's beautiful, by the way. If you get a chance, go. But there's a lot of technology they're using there that we're just not using here. So, honestly...
Psst. Do you know why? Because the Walt Disney Company doesn't run those parks.
That's right. And you know what they also have, Marvin? They also got a Splash Mountain. Dude,
oh, yeah, they do.
There.
Lord.
If they're going to update
no complaints there.
But the rides, some of the rides, like Tower of Terror is the way it is. We love it. It's the way it's supposed to be.
Yes, those classic attractions like the Tower of Terror constructed in the 90s.
Classic.
I know they updated it to Guardians in California, but they've done that, and maybe leave this one alone.
I do agree with that. As much as I love Mission Breakout more, this one could stay like this because they.
As much as I love Mission Breakout more, this guy. Oh my gosh, I hate this guy so much.
Marvin, we can leave that alone. I mean, we don't have to update that.
We can leave that alone. It's current year. We can leave that alone.
It's current, yeah.
I do love when the parks have like their own like exclusive.
Right? Like Tower of Terror is like
I'm sorry. He said, I like when the parks have their own exclusive IP. And then her immediate response to that is Tower of Terror. Does she not know the Twilight Zone exists? Please tell me she doesn't know that. She thinks the Twilight Zone is like the Carousel of Progress, like Disney invented it for the parks.
It's what it is. The reason that Splash Mountain got updated is because Splash Mountain needed to be updated. Like it
Oh.
Says who? Says you and your stupid rainbow headband. That's who says it.
Needed.
That was. But there's nothing wrong with Tower of Terror, right? It's socially, culturally, it's all good.
It's all good according to you.
Lee, this is so crazy to see the mindset here.
I feel I almost want to stop this because I just feel like I'm dying of cringe right now.
Aged well.
It really has. It really has. It's fine. And the technology's fine, and really everybody's there for the drop anyway.
Yeah.
You're in line at Tower for the drop. And if you watch some of the history stuff about how they built that building, it's actually pretty impressive. There's a special on Disney Plus about how they built Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
And it's really impressive.
Yeah.
Like the detailing that went into putting that building together.
It's the detail they used to put into everything. It's the detail they put into Splash Mountain.
I was just about to say, yeah, it was really impressive actually to get Splash Mountain built at a time when they didn't have much capital at all. Fits all the qualifications, but apparently it's different.
Who worked the salt mines again? The salt mines that they have in the queue for Tiana's Bayou Adventure?
Yeah. Now, don't get salty about those salt mines.
No. Don't get salty about the salt mines, Vash. They you know, it happened. It happened. We have to just accept it. You know, Tiana, it's beautiful. It's Tiana's. Now they have Tiana, and it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wonder what her reaction would be to, the lack of Dr. Facilier in that. Maybe she would actually agree with us and say, yeah,
of course,
really? You think so?
No, it had to go, Vash, because cultural. James Oldday says, Tower of Terror is so iconic, so is Splash Mountain. Zippity Doo Dah was the park's theme song.
So right on, James Oldday. So right on.
I apologize for yelling, guys, in that segment, but man... That woman is like my worst. That couple, just in general, is kind of my worst nightmare. Like to be trapped in a room with them, I would probably chew my own arm off so I had something to throw at them.
Well, don't do that, Marvin.
Those are the people that like you're on like a long line for a ride, and those are the people you're stuck behind, and you have to listen to their insipid, vapid, soulless, brainless nonsense conversations for like 65 minutes.
Wow, that's probably right on. By the way, to conduct interviews on Disney property, actually for social media, not allowed on parks regulations and guidelines. So would be careful.
I think they were
that.
probably together.
They're probably together. You think so?
Maybe.
So,
I don't know. They look like they'd be together. Just saying, like they sound like they'd be together. They agree. They agree with each other far too much. Yes, if they're not together, they should consider it.
Match made in paradise.
Well, it's match made somewhere. All right, Vash, we've got to get out of here. You got a show to do. Tell us what's coming up on the Vash Sky Parkcast today.
Absolutely. Well, you just heard right there, changing story, implementing technology in these classic attractions right there. I disagree with the assertions pointed out there in that last video. I think that some of these things should be preserved. I think they are works of art. We're going to talk about one work of art, that being the Pirates of the Caribbean. And it's now a very infamous projection face update right there for one of its classic figures in that attraction. Very interesting stuff. A lot of people have had a lot to say about it, and I've said some things. Go ahead and give you the full package in our upcoming show right there. We've also got a lot to talk about, including There was recently a fire at the Dolphin. That's no good. You don't want to actually see that. We have more information about those Disneyland Twilight tickets right there, and Comcast splitting off NBC Universal, why it matters to us theme park fans. We've got all that and more to enjoy. I think we captured the magic. He's joining us as well over there at the Vash Sky Parkcast. So come on over, check us out. You're going to be redirected right after this show. So Marvin, I just want to go ahead and thank you for tremendous hosting ability right here. Awesome show.
Thank you very much for being here, Vash. Appreciate it. Hope you guys all stick around, check out Vash Sky Parkcast over there. Starting right after this, you'll be automatically redirected, so you don't even have to go anywhere. Just sit tight, and you'll be redirected right over there. Please check out the M4 Empire. I have a new video up about Supergirl, James Gunn, and the DC Universe, so check that out. We have a new clip up from Culture Crossfire where Wizard and I absolutely dissect the live-action Netflix Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2 that just came out, so make sure you check that out as well. We've got the M4 cast tomorrow evening at 8 p.m., so make sure you check that out as well. We'll see you guys there. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us today, and we hope you keep it here to That Park Place. Like, share, and subscribe for all the news that should be fun.